Hey guys, welcome back to another week of What's for Dinner. Some of you guys may have already seen on my community post, but if you haven't, I just wanted to let y'all know my grandma in Wisconsin passed this past week, and I am currently in Wisconsin. I was able to get this video done and ready for y'all before we left, but I likely won't be replying to comments or anything until we get back to Georgia later this week. I also won't have any videos this week. I know that y'all understand. So thank y'all so much for all of your kind comments on my community post, and thank y'all so much for your love and support. I did make some delicious meals this week, so let's go ahead and get into it. Friday night I made the TikTok feta pasta. We love this stuff. If you love feta, I think that you'll like it. In a casserole dish, I added 2 pints of grape tomatoes, some olive oil, some crushed red pepper, black pepper, salt, basil paste, and some minced garlic, and I stirred that around really well. Then I added a block of tomato basil feta to the center and drizzled with more olive oil. I baked this at 425 for 45 minutes. And while it baked, I cooked up 8 ounces of pasta and reserved 1 cup of the pasta water. When it came out of the oven, I mixed everything together really well, and I added my pasta and some of the pasta water and some fresh basil. To go with our pasta, I cooked up some chicken breast in my cast iron pan. I did it the way I always do it. I cooked it in some olive oil and butter, and I seasoned it on both sides with some Badia Complete and Tony's Creole seasoning. As I said before, we love the feta pasta. Even my kids love it. This night it was a little spicy because I added a bit too much crushed red pepper, but it was still so good. Saturday night we did burgers and air fryer corn. So for the corn, I drizzle it with some olive oil and then sprinkle it with whatever seasoning I want. This night I just did salt and pepper, and then I put it in the air fryer on 400 for 10 minutes, flipping halfway through. And then when it comes out, I just roll it in some butter, and then I wrapped it in some foil so it could stay hot until we were ready to eat. For my burgers, I just like to cook them in a little bit of bacon grease, so that's what I'm putting here in my cast iron pan, and then I just season them with some salt and pepper on both sides and cook them until they are done. And anytime I cook in my cast iron pan a lot, I get questions on how I clean it. I did share how I clean it in at the end of a What's for Dinner, like probably almost a year ago now, but I will leave that video linked down below if you're interested in it. I don't do a lot to it. I keep it pretty simple. So here was our dinner. We just had burgers, corn, and then we had chips and salsa. Lily had that salsa from Sam's Club, and then me and Elijah were trying this pickle de gallo that I got at Aldi, and me and him both really loved it. We really like pickles, especially like fresh tasting pickles, which is what this was. So if you like pickles, I think you'd like this salsa. It's not too spicy. I got the medium one, and it's still not even that spicy. Sunday night was my birthday, and yes, I cook dinner on my birthday. I like to have my brother and sister and sometimes my uncle over for dinner on my birthday. So this night I decided to make chicken tacos because I love tacos, and also chicken tacos are super easy. So in the crock pot I added some chicken breasts, some taco seasoning, the juice of 1 lime, and then I used my immersion blender on the last of this cilantro salsa from Sam's Club, and then I poured that over everything and just let it cook on low all day. And then to go with our tacos, I of course made my instant pot Mexican rice. I will have that linked down below. We had flour tortillas and hard shells, sour cream, cheese, salsa, onions, lettuce, limes. And here is what that chicken looked like. I just shredded it all up. And I did end up draining off some of the liquid so our tacos wouldn't be soggy. And then here is the cake that Andy picked up for me for my birthday. He got it at Publix. It was a vanilla cake with fudge icing, and it was so good. Publix has great cakes. And here are the kids' plates. They had some cheese dip and chips, some rice, some tacos, and then here is my plate. I just had 3 tacos with a little bit of everything on top of them. Monday night I made shrimp fried rice. This has become one of those quick and easy go-to dinners for us, like similar to spaghetti. Shrimp thaws out really fast, so like when I forget to thaw something out, I can quickly thaw out shrimp and quickly make shrimp fried rice. So I have a video on this because I've made it many times, and I always make it the same way, and it's delicious. So I will link that down below for y'all. Tuesday night, I tried a new recipe for chicken stroganoff. I've never had chicken stroganoff before. Didn't even realize it was a thing, but we tried it this week, and we're going to be serving it over some egg noodles. So I started off by cooking up half a bag of egg noodles. For my chicken, I cut up 1 pound of chicken breast into bite-sized pieces, and then I seasoned them all over with some paprika and salt and pepper. In my skillet, I added a tablespoon of oil and a tablespoon of butter, and then I added my chicken in and browned it for a little bit. It doesn't have to be cooked all the way through because it is going to be simmering in a broth later. When my chicken was browned, I added in about 3 cloves of minced garlic and 1 tablespoon of dried minced onion. You could add like some shallots or something if you wanted to, but I chose just to use this dried minced onion that I had. I was using like 2 different recipes to make this. I didn't like everything in both recipes, so I kind of made my own out of the 2. So I will have both of those linked down below, as well as the measurements that I used for everything. So let that garlic cook for about 30 seconds, and then I added 2 cups of chicken broth, 6 tablespoons of Worcestershire, and 2 teaspoons of Dijon mustard, and I brought that to a simmer and let it simmer for 5 minutes. after letting my broth simmer for 5 minutes, I stirred in some sour cream. To this sour cream, I had added 3 tablespoons of flour. That's what one of the recipes had you do. So it was 3 tablespoons of flour and 1 1/4 cups of sour cream. And I just whisked that into the broth and let it get nice and hot and let it simmer for about 2 minutes to get everything hot and thickened. So I served this over the egg noodles, as I said at the beginning, and I topped it with a little bit of extra black pepper and parsley. And me and the kids didn't love this. I feel like it had a little bit too much sour cream. It was a little bit too creamy for us, but I was surprised because Andy loved it. He ate all of it that night and said it was so good. It smelled delicious, just I think it had a little bit too much sour cream and possibly even a little bit too much Worcestershire sauce. So this is definitely something I want to make again, but kind of alter the recipe, play around with it. Wednesday night we had our spaghetti. This is like a weekly thing in our house. We have some form of spaghetti. And I used some leftover brioche buns and just topped them with the Chef Chamois garlic butter for a quick garlic bread. Okay, it is Thursday night, and tonight for dinner I am trying a new recipe for garlic butter steak and potatoes skillet. It's all going to be pretty much cooked in my cast iron skillet. I'm going to start off with the potatoes. It says to make the potatoes crisp up better and cook better in your skillet to boil them for 8 minutes. So I'm going to wash these up, quarter them, and then when my salted water comes to a boil, I'm going to toss those in there and boil them for 8 minutes. Okay, while my potatoes are cooking, I've got this London broil here. I am going to thinly slice it and then add it to this bowl with a third a cup of soy sauce, a tablespoon of olive oil, a tablespoon of hot sauce, and it says that they use sriracha, so that's what I'm going to use, and then some black pepper. And I'm just going to let that marinate while the potatoes cook. Okay, I've got my cast iron pan here heated over a medium heat. To that, I'm gonna add 1 tablespoon of olive oil and 1 tablespoon of butter. And then I'm gonna add in my potatoes that are partially cooked. And I'm gonna season them with some salt and pepper and cook them until they are done. The potatoes are basically already cooked through since we boiled them. I'm just trying to get them nice and golden and crispy, so I'm just going to let them cook in this single layer, and then I'll stir them around and kind of flip them over to get them crispy and golden on the other side as well. Okay, I've got my potatoes removed from my pan. I've got 2 tablespoons of butter here and 5 teaspoons of minced garlic, some Italian seasoning, and some crushed red pepper. I'm going to add that in there and let it cook for about 30 seconds, and then I'm going to add my steak in a single layer and just like let it cook on one side for only about a minute because it's thin, and then flip it over and cook it for about another minute. If you want your steak really done, you'd probably want to cook it longer, but we like ours still a little pink, so that's what I'm gonna do. Okay, my steak is almost done and there's a little bit of that marinade left, so it said you could add it to the pan and let it simmer for another minute or so. And then after that, I'm going to stir in those potatoes, let them heat back up, and it'll be ready to serve. Okay, here is the finished dinner. I topped all of our potatoes with a little bit of fresh Parmesan cheese, and then to go with it I made a can of green beans that I just seasoned with some chicken bouillon and some Body Complete and butter. So that's what my plate looks like, Andy's, and then I went ahead and cut up the steak for each of the kids. And that is going to be dinner for Thursday. This was delicious. I definitely will make this recipe again. We all loved it. That is going to be it for this week's What's for Dinner. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and let me know in the comments down below if you plan on trying any of these recipes. As I said at the beginning, I won't be around for the next week, and next week's What's for Dinner is probably just going to be us eating out in Wisconsin a lot. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.